In this video, I want to talk to you very quickly about the power of compounding. And the reason I want to do that is that there are too many people coming to this market looking for a get-rich-quick scheme. And when they find that that doesn't exist, they get a little bit demotivated and they give up on the dream altogether. But what I want to show you is how that you can actually achieve that dream, but you need to give yourself a longer period of time. And if you're realistic about your goals and you're realistic about the period of time in which you want to achieve it, then you can achieve your dreams. You can get to that goal. You can, do everything that you first wanted to do when you started to look at the markets, but it may take a little bit longer. But having said that, it is very, very achievable and it's very, very realistic. Okay, so let's just play with some numbers for a moment to see what you can do in a relatively short period of time if you have your head screwed on. So I've just taken a starting capital here of £10,000. Now I know some of you may have more and some of you may have less, but this is just a nice round number and it shows you what's possible over a certain period of time with the power of compounding. Now before I talk about the figures, let's just talk about what compounding is for a second. Compounding is ultimately reinvesting the profits that you make. So not taking it out, but just keeping it in your trading account and taking a larger position size. So growing your account that way. And believe me, I know a lot of people that have made a considerable amount of money in a relatively short period of time by doing exactly that, reinvesting their profits. So with a starting bank of around £10,000, if you only made, 10% a year, which is more than achievable as a trader. You can definitely make 10% a year without a problem and really very, very conservatively. Then over a 10-year period, you could grow that £10,000 account into £25,000. Okay, that doesn't sound like a lot of money. I understand that, but if you're looking to build for your retirement or something like that, then that can really quickly build up. But how about looking at something that's a little bit more realistic? Okay, so I've said to you guys in the course a couple of times that you can be aiming for sort of like the 5-10% a month type mark. All right, that's relatively realistic. We're taking relatively low risk. All right, now we're not talking about betting 10% of your account or 20% of your account to be able to achieve these goals. So just making 5 to 10% a month. That would put you in the bracket of the 50% to the 100% a year. Okay, now if you started with £10,000 and let's pick the middle of the road, right? You start with £10,000 and you make 70 to 80% per annum, which isn't that difficult to do as long as you're consistent. If you can do that, after 10 years of doing this, you will have amassed nearly £3 to £3.5 million. Right, now that's really, really not to be sniffed at. If you take a look early on, it doesn't look like you're making a great deal. Year one, you make yourself 8 grand, year two, 14, year three, you make yourself 20 odd grand. Year four, you're making yourself £40,000 a year. By year five, you're generating roughly £90,000 a year. And by year six, you're making yourself a considerable income. Okay. All right. If you think about the fact that the average person out there is probably earning £20,000 to £30,000, and after 6 years trading with a starting capital of just £10,000, you could be making in excess of £150,000 and £160,000 a year. That's not bad going at all. And then by the time you get to year 7, you're making £300,000 a year. Year 8. £400,000 or £500,000 a year, and by year 9 it's nearly £1 million a year at just 80% per annum. And I say just, and I know that you'll say to me, some of you will say to me, well, that's ridiculous, it's not possible. And I agree, it is high. And for a long period of time, I thought to myself that when my brother and I were achieving around the 50% per year mark, we thought that was kind of the ceiling. Over the past few years, we've been able to achieve more than that. And that's why I'm showing this to you here. I wouldn't show it to you if I didn't think it was possible. And if you want to know about some famous traders that have achieved this, there's a guy called Marty Schwartz. He's a Wall Street trader. His track record has been documented. And he made in excess of 25% a month. Right? 25% a month. That's more than 300% per year. More than that if you compound it. Think about it. So all you're looking to do here is achieve between 50 to 100% a year, and within a few short years you will be putting yourself in a bracket which you only ever dreamt of. Okay? So as I said, this is not a sprint. don't come to this with unrealistic expectations. What I'm showing you here is realistic. And I know some of you look at that and think, well, you know what, I was hoping to make a bit more than that. Okay, I understand, fair enough. But even if you go aggressive and you look to make the 100% per year, you can still build up your bank relatively quickly to get to a point where you can do this full time. If you don't, I mean, I'm talking about those people that don't already have the capital to do that. If you've already got a couple of $100,000 to chuck into this, then, you know, you're at year 5 or 6 already. You know, but if you are starting with a relatively modest account, so maybe £1,000, 2,000, 10,000, 20,000, you know, don't be disheartened. It can build up so very, very quickly. You know, we like to say to our traders that you need to be looking to make somewhere between 5 and 10% a month. Some months you may get less than that, some months you may get more, but that seems to be something that's consistently achievable and means that you don't have to take, you know, huge risks, unnecessarily high risks. Okay, so it kind of puts you in the conservative camp, but it allows you to grow your account quite impressively. So thank you very much for watching this. As I said, please don't get disheartened. This wasn't the purpose of the video. All I'm trying to say is that, you know, trading isn't a get rich quick scheme, but it definitely is a get rich scheme if you put in the time and the effort and you allow your account to grow and you have realistic expectations from the start. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this short video, and I look forward to seeing you all on the next video. Take care now.